This is Leo Knighton Tallarico, and it is, what is today? November 12th, 2022. So today, here's a few things in store. We're going to go over the eclipse that just ended and the eclipse season that's been going on and talk about what's now. We're going to be bringing on special guest, Zenka from LightNet, actually founder of LightNet. And she'll tell us more about that. And, I've been involved in it already. I took classes there, and I'm teaching a class there. So I already believe in this operation. But Zenka is going to tell us more about it. And then, of course, Deborah Knighton Tallarico will be on later, too. So without further ado, let's talk about now. So the eclipse was Tuesday, the last one. The first one was on October 25th. Second one just this last Tuesday. And now we're moved, since it was a full moon, the last one. The lunar eclipses are always full moons. Solar eclipses always new moons. But since it was a full moon, that means that the moon is beginning to darken now. And it'll continue darkening every day until November 23rd. And then on November 23rd, light begins to shine. Actually, it doesn't shine until the next day, the 24th. But then things start moving forward again. So what does this period signify? Well, since it was this has been a very intense lunar cycle with the two eclipses. It means this time right now is kind of like letting it all settle in, what happened in actual events, but also what happened inside of you. Like, since Mars is retrograde still and will be until January 12th, that means that where we want to go, what we want to do, what directions we want to take, what we desire to have in our lives, what we want to put our will toward, all of that is in reflection mode. So it's not a really good time to make a big move forward until after the 12th. And of course, it's holiday season now too, so it kind of helps out with where we are with the planets. So on the 12th, Mars will go direct, January 12th. On the 18th, Mercury will go direct because it's going retrograde in December again. And Uranus will be direct on January 22nd. So that's where all systems are go. After the 12th, after the 18th, and then after the 22nd of January, all systems are go. So a lot of what happened during these eclipses, you're not going to see the full way to look at it all, full perspective on it all, until first the 23rd of November, which is the new moon in Sagittarius. Jupiter, which is Sagittarius's planet, changes directions on the same day. So remember now, between now and the 23rd, we're going down and in. Moon gets darker, our internal world gets darker. I don't mean dark like negative or depressed. I just mean more reflective and inward as opposed to outward and active. So then on the 23rd of November, after we've gone through all this time internally, it doesn't mean you're not doing anything externally. It just means that the major thrust is internal, to reflect on all these things that we just talked about. Then on the 23rd, not only is a new moon in Sagittarius, but like I said, the planet Jupiter, which is Sagittarius's planet, goes direct on that same day. What that means is Sagittarius is about high-minded, inspirational, uplifting. Those are the energies that are coming in a big way, because Jupiter goes direct also that day, but also in a big way because of what we just went through with the eclipses. So it'll be a big thrust forward. But keep this in mind. Sagittarius oftentimes means people take a big leap. Like, it's an adventurous sign, adventurous planet. Sometimes people feel so positive, even like in a manic way positive. And then they make moves based on that mood that aren't necessarily going to be fruitful for them. So just keep in mind, as we get close to that 23rd date, when you start getting an inspiration about something, pause before you leap. Like they say, look before you leap, because it's easy to jump into things that won't be good for you. But at the same time, use that energy to inspire you and to move forward in ways that will be exciting and adventurous. Just have a little bit of caution that it's not impulsive, but it's your whole body and soul are involved in your wanting to make whatever move it is. Not just your mind, not just the fire in you, but the totality of who you are. So that's what's coming up shortly. So we had the elections too on that eclipse. I know a lot of people were really into the elections. I mean, I looked at them too, see where everything was at, because in Arizona was kind of important, especially. And it looks like Democrats and Republicans are going to be fairly equal in the government. Not what the Republicans had thought, which was going to be a huge wave of change in their direction. So it's going to be fairly balanced and equal moving forward. Is that good or bad? Well, in some ways that's good. If they cooperated and they talked to each other, it would be very good. However, we know that the Republicans and the Democrats nowadays don't really communicate very well and don't work together to get things going. This is all part of the process of the old world not being what it used to be. The old system is finding its way down. This is good. We are ready and ripe for moving into new territory in so many ways. Zenka will tell us about some of the new ways that we're moving into new territories, psychically, mentally. And we need to do that, and we need to have the blocks to it out of the way. And this goes for your personal life too. If you feel that there's something inside you that's blocking you from going forward the way you would like to, work with that. Go to counselors. Work on removing the block from your system. Now, I understand that a lot of times the block is a trauma that a person faced in their life. It's like they're afraid to move forward in a meaningful way because they're afraid that whatever happened to them before is going to happen to them again. That's serious for a lot of people. Nothing to be made lightly. And that's why they often need to go into some kind of counseling or read a special book or start spiritual practices or go one step beyond where they normally have gone just to get themselves out of the old box and into a healthy movement for their lives. So a lot of you, has the intensity gone down for you since the eclipse? Is the intensity less than it was? It should be less. It was so intense around the eclipse. Overall, we have all moved into a new chapter of life this year. New chapter of life. It's not all defined yet. We don't know exactly what it is, where it's going, but it is certainly a new chapter of life. I know some people feel like, wow, I seem to have aged all of a sudden. It's because it's the new chapter that we've moved into. And a lot of it is not because we've done certain kind of work. I mean, planetarily, we know that timing is such that things change, evolve, crises come up, challenges come up. And usually around the eclipses, challenges come up, crises come up. So people say, well, God, I don't want any eclipses to come around. It's so difficult. But listen, when you face those challenges, you're also working to move beyond the blocks. A lot of the crises that come up during these times of planetary intensity, they come up because we need to be challenged, because in the process of being challenged, things come up that were pushed down and blocking us from the place of push down in our systems. When it comes up, you can look at it and work with it, not just intellectually, but you can work with it from your heart and soul too. And as you do, you transform your life, you break down the blocks, and you move forward. During eclipses, there's usually breakdowns of things that don't work anymore. Can feel horrible because even things that don't work anymore, or don't feel good anymore, or don't feel meaningful anymore, we hold on to them because it feels secure. So some of that security goes away, but it's necessary in order to get us to go to our next level of being. And this is all happening so fast and so intensely for people because the evolution of our family is fast moving now. It's not like slow, when are things going to change? No, things are really picking up speed. And why? Because we all need to evolve. We need to evolve in our consciousness. And so when we get challenged a lot and we feel, my God, this is really rough and I don't want to have to deal with this, I understand that. I've felt the same way many times in my life. But it's necessary to go through the crisis or go through whatever situation it is in order to allow yourself to let go of old blocks in your system that don't fit your movement into your new world. Another thing, even though it's not Mercury retrograde and the eclipses are now not so impactful, don't spend too much time in your mind trying to figure it all out exactly. This is what we have a tendency to do. We have a tendency to I've got to grab this and figure it out. It's not the right thing to do for the most part nowadays because things are changing so rapidly. And a lot has not really fallen down into place for you to know exactly where you're going and what you're doing. So trying to grasp too tightly to figure it out is only going to cause a lot of stress and strain. Let the answers more come to you as opposed to you forcing it to come out. Trust and have faith that if you let go, surrender a little bit, that what you need, the answers you need, are going to come to you. That doesn't mean you become passive because you want to be proactive in the process, but it means you don't try so hard to figure it out or to make it work when maybe it's not the time to have figured it out or to make it work. And this has a lot to do with the times that we're in. That what I'm saying now is not going away. Next eclipse season, let's look ahead a little bit. Next eclipse season will be April, May. Solar eclipse in April, 29 degrees of Aries. Lunar eclipse in Taurus Scorpio again, early in May. That's when things are really going to change. I've written before and mentioned on the air before, the next 6 to 8 months the world's going to change in such a big way that when you look back, 8 months from now, you're going to say, wow, is that where I was at 8 months ago? That's how much the world is going to change. So if you feel pushed around in your personal life to make changes, or changes are coming to you, and a lot of times it's big changes, not dissimilar from the 70s, 60s, and 70s, when people were leaving relationships, they were leaving jobs, they were actually changing careers more than just leaving jobs, leaving families. Things were happening so fast with war going on. A president resigned in the 70s, race riots, feminism was getting women to be empowered. A lot of these issues are back up again. Racism, we've seen in the last few years how that happened, how that has affected our world. Feminism, that's not the right word anymore, but return to the power of the feminine. Don't resist this. This is good for our world, because part of what that means is we don't need to be locked up in our left brain linear mind as much as we used to be. Returning to the feminine means we're going more into our right brain creative mind, and even more, we're moving into our hearts more, trusting our hearts to take us where we need to go. And this brings us back to that other thing I was just saying. You don't want to try so hard to be in your mind figuring it out. Creative things will come to you. Being in your imagination will help your creativity and help you find answers. And most of all, be in your heart. Let your heart lead the way. A lot of you are thinking right now, God, all the times I've let my heart lead the way, God, it's such rough things happen. Should have never met that guy. Should have never gone with that woman. Destroyed my life because I trusted my heart. Maybe some of those things you needed to go through. And maybe your heart's in a different state today than it was back then. More clear, more clean, not with past traumas running your heart space like it used to. But it's time to trust our hearts more. So it's like the 60s and 70s again, in a lot of ways. And during the 60s and 70s, people also felt like, oh my God, the world is ending. Did you feel that way over the last few weeks, the last couple of years? It's not ending. The world is not ending. But the world as we know it is ending. I know we have one candidate, Trump, who talked about make America great again. And the other party also wants us to go back to other times. We can't go back to any other times. We're moving forward. Before very long, the economic system that we sit within is going to be different, transformed. The power structure in the world will be different. The United States will no longer be a superpower, but another member of the community of nations. Does that mean that your world, you need to like stock up on food right now? Because trust your own instinct on that. Don't follow the crowd and get all panicky about what's going to happen. Yeah, the world's going to change a lot, but you'll be guided if you stay connected inside yourself. And meditation is the best way to do that. If you stay connected inside yourself, you're going to know what to go, where to go, when to go, all of it. You're going to know. You're going to look for signs. You're going to look for symbols. You're going to look for synchronicities, and you're going to know what to go, where to go, and what to do. No reason for panic, no reason for desperation. Look back during times like World War I, World War II. People made it through those times. The depression that happened back then. Sometimes people actually got closer to one another during times like that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying we as a human family have been through many, many crises and many, many challenges. And whatever we're going through and about to go through is just another one. And it's another one that'll help us to evolve, to have more love in our hearts, and to have truth as our guiding light. All too often now, you can't even find the truth. You turn on one station, Republican, turn on another, Democrat. It's like, where's the truth? It's not being presented to us out there. So where's the truth being presented to us? In here. This is why we need to go inside and trust ourselves, our own mind, our own hearts, to know where we're going and what we're doing. Trust. So trust is a big factor right now. So as you're evolving and as you're transforming, the more you can open up your heart to trust, the better. A lot of you are thinking, hey, look, guys, such rough things happen in my life. I can't really trust. Who do you want me to trust? A woman will say, you want me to trust men after what men have done to me? A man will say, you want me to trust women after what women have done to me? You want me to trust authority figures after what happened with my mother and father? I understand. It's not them you're trusting. It's not authority figures you're trusting. It's the universe and your soul that you can trust. You can trust your own deeper soul. You just got to get there. You can trust the universe or God or goddess or all that is, or whatever your word is. It's the same thing. It's trusting something above and beyond ourselves. It's trusting not the world. We humans made the world. It's trusting the universe. That's the word I use. Whatever word you use is cool. So we need to trust the universe. So this week coming up, again, it's a waning moon getting darker. And on Wednesday, it'll be the fourth quarter moon, but then it's really starting to get darker. And then the week after that, on the 23rd, is the new moon. But this week itself is that coming inside. You're going to get some flashes of really positive this week as Venus and Mercury go into Sagittarius midweek. But there's also the waning moon that's going on, darkening moon. And there's also some other aspects like Mars square Neptune that are going to be this week that are not so uplifting. They're more go deep down inside. So it's possible this week to almost feel like you're manic depressive as this week goes on. Sometimes you're going to feel real high. Sometimes you're going to feel really low. This is what I expect. Don't allow either one to take you anywhere. Just watch it. Watch the upliftment. Watch the going down. Go through the process and realize that when the new moon happens on the 23rd, that's going to move everything forward. Now it's time to kind of piece everything together inside. That doesn't mean figure it out, but gather together all that you've been going through and get yourself ready for that new moon on the 23rd. And then I can tell you, like I already have, then in January, things really move forward. In December, they move forward a little bit because of that 23rd of November new moon. But remember, it's the holidays, and the bigger planets are going to stay retrograde until January. So just let yourself trust, surrender, go inside. Don't push yourself. Coming up, okay? Well, I think our special guest, I hope she's ready. I'm looking at the backstage. She looks like she's ready. We're going to let Zenka come on now. Hi, Ms. Zenka.
Hi, how's it going? That was amazing. Thanks for the soul universe forecast. You know, we're all in this together, and
you know it.
We've got these like very unique configurations within our own charts, and then we all ride the big chart together.
Exactly. That's the way to put it. You know, there's the wave of the energy coming from the planets that affects us all, but how it affects each one of us is dependent on what our natal charts are.
Yeah.
And what we've done with our lives and our mind and our hearts.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, you know it. We're all together. Yeah. And this is the Oneness Radio Network, by the way. Zenka,
beautiful.
Tell us how you started LateNet. Let's go there first.
Okay. So, you know, I had it. Okay. So I'm trying to think, I'm trying to put my finger on exactly when I started it, but I think, you know, I had, you know, okay, there's this thing called a backdoor, and a backdoor is when you use your fears to escape and take the easy way out. And you know that, and you will make all the excuses in the world to do this. You'll be like, oh yeah, this is the way, because you're scared little girl, scared little boy of putting yourself up to a big game. And I was collaborating a lot with other people because I was like scared to raise money, and I knew I needed a lot of money to build what I wanted to build. And so I would like add my project onto other projects and be like, oh, well, they'll help do that part. And I finally realized that it was taking too long, and it wasn't, you know, it was like sometimes there's not a resonance, or there's not like a, you know, I don't know, it was just taking too long. And I felt, and so I finally was just like, okay, I just have to do this myself. And it was,
what was your original intention and idea?
Well, my idea was to have a statistical knowledge base so that we could learn from what each other were doing, so we weren't reinventing the wheel all the time. And I also wanted to study phenomenon, because I started doing this moon bending, and I was like, wait a minute, I really wanted to understand how things worked, because I was thinking to myself, like, we're trying to solve all these big problems like the ocean and education and free healthcare, like all these really difficult things. And I'm like, well, if we don't understand how this works in general, like reality, then we're going to keep cycling through all these iterations over and over and over again without having the complete picture. And that's kind of like what's happening now. We've got all these people solving problems with these incredible nonprofits and governments and like organizations and communities, but nobody's talking to one another. And if And so it's sort of like saying, okay, solve this problem. Let's say it's the oceans, like solve this problem. And then you give them 80% of the data and you go solve this problem. And they're like, well, why didn't you tell me about the other 20? Because how are they going to solve? Well, so the other 20 or the other one, like whatever percent is that consciousness is fundamental. The universe is weighted in our favor. Our minds and our hearts create reality. We're about to have a massive healing take place within each of all of us. And we're going to start stepping into our true purpose and passion, because there's nothing sweeter in life than to do what you want to do, to be who you want to be. And that's when things get awesome, because that's what the universe and God and all that is wants you to do. Just like you, Leo, you were like, oh, I was doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm called to this other thing. And that's why you're so good at what you do. It's because this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you love doing. Yes. And you help so many people because you're in your passion. And that's when you kept saying, like, follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart in your talk just now. It's very hard to do that because we don't trust the world.
Exactly.
We don't trust the world. And then we don't trust ourselves, just like I didn't trust myself to raise $1 million or to 10 million to build this software to hook us all up. You know? So yeah, I guess
tell everybody what LightNet is now. And you mentioned the bending and spoon, so please include that in all this.
Yeah, so LightNet is an open data commons, meaning we're establishing a new way to do hands-on learning with small groups of 8, where we have guides and then we bank the knowledge for humanity in an open way. So in other words, we research, we're like a think tank for consciousness, but everybody's invited. You know, it's not just governments, it's not, university, it's us. It's us sharing the magic and mystery that's within all of us.
Right.
That's the aha moment. That's like the difference between I don't want to get out of bed to I can't wait to see what might happen today, right? It's the hope. And this is so in a sense, LightNet is just simply designed to tell the story of our potential. And the weird thing is we haven't even scratched the surface of our potential.
Oh,
because this is what's happening. I ordered new spoons the other day and I pulled out the thing and I just go whoop, whoop. And I was like, oh, wow.
Tell people the process of how this works, like in one of your classes. How does it
happen? So we do it live in Sedona. We've done 17 parties. They're free for kids. People pay $25 to come and practice. Most people charge $200, so it's easy. And you go for 2 hours. And the technique we use is interesting. It's getting out of your head. And it was designed by Jack Houck. And Jack Houck said, you don't have to meditate. You don't have to silence anything. Just cause chaos in the room and get out of your head.
Ooh.
Because when you cause joy, exuberance and joy,
yes,
people stop thinking. Because I'm jumping up and down going, oh my God, someone bent. So it's like, and then it's like dancing in a dance room and all of a sudden you're not figuring out, do I look bad? How's my dress look? It's
right.
So it's a combination of the brain saying, I will bend, combination of the heart. So what we ask the people to do is go into the thing they love, their pet, their favorite place, their lover, their, God, an angel, whatever. We get them into that because it's the heart opening that drives miracles and magic and synchronicities. That's where it comes from. It comes from the 0 point. So you can't, if you're just in your head, well, you have to be out of your head, unfortunately. You won't have to be out of your head in 10 years because you'll be like, oh yeah, this is no big deal. So for right now, you have to be out of your head because you were told that you can't do this. So the kids are, I don't know if they want to prove their parents wrong or what, but they just do it because it's they don't have that many you can't
trust.
Well, it's just because they say it's hard for your ego to let go of the pattern. because otherwise we would be exhausted all day long, I think, because your brain likes to save time. So it's just looking for patterns, and it's on like sleepwalking automated most of the time until it goes, oh, that's a new pattern. So basically, you need to get it out of that pattern. And this is a pretty extreme situation. Like, I mean, to think that it's very scary to think that the world is not, is 99% nothing and mostly energy and frequency. It's like, what? So it's a little scary for your brain, but it's also liberating, because what it means is that when you're healed, it means that your dream that you had, because everyone was given a dream when they were born, that dream can be real, even though it doesn't feel probable right now. It's designed to become real in your lifetime. So yeah, and if we can reflect back to each other, if I could say, Leo, it happened, and you go, oh my gosh, it did happen, and then someone else is saying it's happening, then we reflect to each other that it's okay to trust the world. It's okay to trust each other. It's okay to trust that it will happen.
How do you do this to help people with this, Zenka?
Yeah.
When a person goes more into their heart, more into their right brain, we still have a regular 3D world we have to move through. We have to be on time for our appointment.
Yeah.
We have to do this. We have to do that. Yeah. We have to make sure that everything's in order.
Yeah.
How do you personally, or how do you propose that people find that balance? How do they find the balance between opening up to their chaotic places that are more chaotic, and still run their life in an orderly way?
Well, I was thinking about that in the back of my head. I don't know if it was like your thoughts entering mine, or mine like not wanting to mislead people to like jump off the cliff. But the thing is this, it's that jump that triggers it to start catching you, unfortunately. So at the end of the day, you have to trust, like you just said in your opening, the only thing you can trust is the universe, God, and all that is, and yourself. That's in your heart. That's the only thing you can trust. And so when you start to make that leap, like you're talking about that leap, that is where it cues your environment to start kicking in. And it is scary, and it will be scary. Yeah. Now, one thing that's going to happen is, as we disintegrate these systems, our 3D lives, our jobs, our rent, our food, all that stuff is going to start to get shaky, right? So we don't want everyone quitting their jobs in an instant, right? So it is important to balance, but I don't believe, I used to live in Argentina, and they had economic crises where they shut down the banks twice in one lifetime. They completely shut down the banks and go, sorry, your money is no longer here. And by the way, we're changing to another currency. They would just change. They went to Australes. So, and they're doing awesome. You know what I mean? Like, despite everything, it all survived. They still have cookouts. They still have friends. They still survive.
Yes.
So the thing is, we think we need all these accoutrements and this whatever, but the safety is that, even if you die, you never die. So what worse could happen than that? And the gain is that you feel the love, and that you raise the others around you, because the work that you do on your inner self helps the guy next to you in the supermarket.
That's right.
Because we're all connected, and we're not going back down. Like, that's the refreshing part of this whole thing, is that once we lift to the next thing, we never go backwards. We never go backwards. So that's right. Whatever you do to help yourself heal and clear, you're actually helping someone else. And we're moving toward this other thing, because we now know that the next couple of years is going to be rough. It's like it's like we're just disassembling a whole thing and reassembling something else. So it's like, is it going to be uncertain? Oh yeah. Are you going to be scared? Oh yeah. Is it going to be fun? Yes. You know, is it going to be an adventure? Yes.
Yeah.
Are we going to get a better world after it? Yes. Are you going to be happier? Yes. Right?
Yes. Very true. Thank you for that. Tell people the programs that they can join through LightNet and how they get a hold of you to join some of these different programs.
Yeah. So if you go to lightnet.org/join, you can become a member. It's $8 a month, $88 a year, and that gets you spoon bending every month. It gets you a workshop every month. Gets you a hangout call, support call, which we're really realizing that people don't want to listen always to like talking heads. They want to talk themselves to each other. And we believe in quantum entanglement. So we believe that the people that are called to LightNet will find each other there and be able to support each other, right? Because sometimes your parents or your family or your coworkers aren't at the same like situation. So on next Saturday morning at 8 a.m., we get everyone together, and it's free for everyone actually. To join us, and we get in a Zoom and we do breakout groups and we just hang out. It's three people in each group, and we talk about what we're going through and support each other. Because, like you said, it's going to be a roller coaster in the next week, right? We're going to have that manic, like, oh my gosh. So we need to slow it down. When you feel like, oh gosh, should I do this? Slow yourself down. It's no, allow yourself the certainty. I mean, the inner knowing, right, of when it's right, and take a deep breath. But yeah, so, and then we're also running these curiosity labs. Now, curiosity labs are the spoon bending. We've got ET contact. We're going to be moving into some other things coming up, which is going to be really exciting. But in January, we're starting a new season of the contact lab. And this is contact with angels, contact with God and all there is, contact with ETs. It's contact with the beyond, contact with people that are not physically here. And we are realizing, so we designed it in small groups of 8 based on Lynn McTaggart's research, because when you have 8 people believing, amazing things happen. They've been using it to heal people. They've been using it to do miracle healing. We're using it to connect with loved ones who passed, or our ET lineage, or whatever it is, right? Yeah. And incredible things are happening. So we have remote viewing. I'm doing a radio research with these. Leo, you're doing astrology. It's like we do channeling, dreams. We're doing telepathy. We're doing lucid dreaming next time. And Nadi Hana is going to be doing crop circle meditations. So it's really like, yeah. And people bond. It's like they find a second family. It's only $200, and you get all the access to all the other classes in this curiosity lab. So we believe that curiosity and joy should be rewarded, and that we shouldn't throttle this. We feel is the most important education in the world. We're a nonprofit, and we also have to sustain ourselves as we really try to expand and grow. But it's a really amazing kind of heartfelt gift, these small groups, because people transform.
They certainly do. I did, and I saw other people go through that too, that I've been teaching.
Yeah, what's been happening in your group, and what's been happening? Well, you did season 1, and then you taught. So that's the idea. It's like you go through a season, then you can guide another group. Yeah. So what? Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of it's astrology, but then I've been taking people on trips. They can either do it through remote viewing, or they can do it through soul travel, whatever way is coming to them when I'm doing the guided meditation. And, like last time we went to Chiron. Chiron's a great place to go to, because Chiron is like a bridge between the other dimensions and the 3D dimension. So I wanted to take everybody to...
Oh my gosh, is that time place?
Chiron, well, how do you mean?
Well, I was taken somewhere that it was a time place, but where is Chiron? What is Chiron?
Chiron sits in between Saturn and Uranus. So up until 1781, Saturn was the furthest planet known. Then in 1781, when we had the American and French revolutions going on, Uranus was discovered. Then Neptune in 1846 and Pluto in 1930. But those three planets were unknown until 1781. And they are the ambassadors for the new world, for the new consciousness, for the extended places in the universe,
Wow.
other dimensions, other frequencies.
Wow.
And Chiron bridges. So that's why I want everybody to go to Chiron, because then you can keep your feet in the 3D world and at the same time go off into this other world.
I love
so that's
that.
what we did recently. Yeah, and we're going to go back to Chiron because people had
So it's a
great
planet?
experiences, all positive experience. It's first people thought it was a planetoid, which is a tiny planet. Then they thought it was a comet, an asteroid. It's not in the asteroid belt, so it can't be an asteroid. People don't even know what to call it. Seriously, some people still say comet, and some people still say planetoid, tiny planet. But whatever it is, it revolves around the sun just like all the planets do. And it was discovered in 1977. 1977, what happened was Close Encounters of a Third Kind happened, which was the first movie that actually showed people coming down and making friendly relationship with people on Earth. That's when Chiron was discovered. So whenever a planet is discovered, it also tells you what that planet is about.
And that's what we're about.
I know. That's why I had to take everybody to Chiron.
Yeah, because you guys, if we're like fighting over money, oil, food, and power, whatever we're fighting over, and we take that into the galactic narrative, I'm going to have a screaming fit on the floor. like we're going to the next chapter, the next elevation, the next super playground. And if we bring all that stuff into the galactic narrative, I'm going to cry. Let's not do that, because that's not what we get. That's not evolution.
Exactly. But Chiron's so important because if you just spend your time in the outer dimensions, you can't really bring anything to the Earth that's going to work. You can't be of service at all. If you're only in the 3D realm, you're going to be too limited.
Yeah.
So the bridge does it all.
Yeah. And I think, and I think, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, I think one of the things that's been helpful to me, and I met some guy, Coda, who's like, you know what? If Trump's not in the room and is not allowed in the room, or Putin's not allowed in the room, then I don't want to be in that room.
Oh,
and
God.
I kind of feel the same way. When we bridge the 3D world, we must invite everyone to transform, because it's like that's like giving up on a drug addict. Like, oh, you're never making it, so I'm not even gonna like bother helping you. So it's like we're about to go through this big somersault of healing, and so it's not that the 3D world is bad. I think of it like this. I've been thinking of it like this Indian goddess that has all the hands. So there's some of us, the people on this call, have like heart, and then there's some of us who are still carrying daggers and tantrums and all this stuff. But that's a part of you. That's a part of me. That's still like, this is a lot. Like, you want me to go over there? You want me to give up my dagger for heart? Are you kidding me? Like, or whatever it is, right? So
no, you're right.
Part of us that's waiting to be given flowers, that's waiting to trust, that's waiting to heal. And the faster we heal everybody, the easier this birth to this funner place gets.
I totally agree. And, a lot of us came from those other dimensions and dropped here in the 3D dimension. But why? Is it just coincidence? Just random? No, we're dropped into this realm here so that we can help. Yeah. You can't leave the 3D realm and still help the 3D realm. You got to be in both realms.
Yes. Yeah. And, we're doing a workshop for members in a couple weeks about the 8 things in your life where you need balance.
Yes.
And having a job, paying your bills, like drinking enough water. It's all the stuff. And that's the thing. We are supposed to bridge and balance because we can do it all. Like, it's destabilizing to have a spiritual awakening. And sometimes you have to quit your job because you're like, I can't do this anymore. And we get to figure out how to make these transitions. But it's also good, as much as we can, to keep ourselves stable as we elevate, right? And help each other,
Exactly.
share, be understanding of the people who are still in 3D, be understanding of the fear that's holding them, be understanding of everyone at every place that they're at.
Exactly. And that's why the Trump Putin thing that you brought up is important. We can no longer demonize certain people and make them like they're the enemy and they're the devil. We
Yes.
have to include everybody, because this new world, this Aquarian age, is about diversity within unity. It's never been done before,
I like
which means
that.
everybody's different. Nobody's the same, but at the same time, we all learn to get together. So
Yeah.
I like that example you brought up with the Putin and Trump.
Yeah. And it's like, and someone was like the other day, they're like, my roommate Alec, she goes, yeah, all this conflict, and you said it, challenge and crisis in your talk. She's like, those are actually blessings. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you're right. And sometimes, we're talking about Bezos, and I'm like, how did Bezos? There's this thing called the pixel wealth of Bezos, and it is for 20 minutes. You scroll about how much money he hoarded, and you're like, oh my God, how's this happening? And then I was like, well, if he didn't do it wrong, then there wouldn't be a push
Exactly.
for us to redo it. And so it's
Exactly.
almost like we just have to accept the chessboard as it is, and then become the people we dream of and want to do. And it's not about shaming anyone else. It's just getting out of your own way and living your life. Like, enjoy. Like, that's all that was ever meant, you were ever meant to do.
Exactly. I hate to let you go now. I got to move on with the show, but will you come back so we can talk some more?
Yeah, I love you, Leo, and I love the work you're doing in the world. I feel like you've changed my life. You've sat me down at these coffees that we've had in Sedona, and you're like, and light bulbs come out of my head like, oh my gosh, you're right, Leo. Thanks for explaining that to me. Like, you're such a wise genius, and thank you for sharing your consciousness and knowing with the world and all of us in this community. It's really amazing.
And thank you for bringing LightNet into my world, because it's helped me to go to new levels I hadn't been to before.
Wow.
I really appreciate that.
Wow.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you now.
Yeah. So again, we're lightnet.org, and you can email us at team@lightnet.org. And we're also on social media, YouTube, all that stuff at our LightNet. So yeah, join us for the story that's unfolding. And we'd love to have you part of our contact teams, which we're going to be putting up for next season at the end of the week.
I'll be teaching another class. I'll be teaching another class in January. 8
to 12 per group. So, next week at this time, jump on the site and reserve, because we're lifting off in beginning of February. So yeah. Yep.
Oh, beginning of February? So,
well, the first team meeting is in January 29th. So at the very end, we'll have a big team meeting with all the contact teams, and then we'll dive into the 8-week journey.
Good, because I plan on doing this again.
Awesome! Yay! Cool.
Take care of yourself. Talk to you soon. Much love to you, Zenka.
Okay. Love to you too.
Bye.
Bye.
That was exciting and illuminating. And it's about moving into these new realms and yet keeping ourselves grounded. I think we spent time doing that to help everybody do that and help ourselves do that too. So now we are bringing on a healer. We're bringing on Ms. Deborah Knighton Tallarico, who's going to tell us what's going on with her and what she's looking at in our world. Deborah, are you ready to come on? Yes, I think she is.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey there. Hey, everybody out there. So, yeah, that was exciting to hear both of you. Leo, loved what you were saying, and Zenka too. And I'm just trying to see how what I was going to share weaves all into it. But what is in my awareness right now is astrologically how this weekend there's I woke up with a lot of emotion, and I'm like, wow, I don't usually wake up with this much like feeling and emotion. And my dream, well, I'm a dreamer anyway, but I had I always have vivid dreams, but there was something different about it. And I woke up and I'm like, I think there's a lot of water right now. planets in water.
Yeah, that's right.
So then I'm like, oh my gosh, the moon's in Cancer, Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces, and then there's Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in Scorpio. So it's almost like, and they're going to be forming, like they're going to be trining each other all weekend. And so I'm like, this is really a time before, and as we're in the last quarter, the last 2 quarters of the moon and before the new moon, to really do some healing work and really be inward, nurturing.
Tell people what water is with planetary signs. Let them know.
I mean, water is, water is the feminine. The earth and water are the feminine elements. And water is, it holds memory, and it's fluid and dreamy and feelings and emotions and intuitions and psychic impressions and soul traveling, soul journey.
Exactly.
So it's such a potent time that I couldn't not talk about that today. That just was just so in my consciousness and my awareness and my being. And then I had an emergency session with one of my clients today. And that's what I was doing with her, was like, okay, just come into the moment, nurture yourself, gentle. And I was, trying to help her calm her nervous system down. And, just like, and what was coming through me was gentle, like it's time to be really gentle and loving and nurturing and to go within, because once the new moon comes, in this week, some of the planets, Mercury and Venus, are moving into Sagittarius. It's going to shift. And even though it's a dark moon, and then everything that's coming, as you were talking about, we need that time for the inner gestation and like receiving in our soul what it is. And then the vision. To me, Sagittarius has a lot to do with vision too. So soon we're going to be receiving the visions. So, but let us nurture our souls on a very deep level.
Deborah, would you tell people exactly what it is you do so that they can contact you and maybe have a session with you? Tell people what you do.
So I do a lot of things, but I've been a spiritual psychotherapist and counselor for about 40 years now. But I integrate a lot of energy healing, alternative healing modalities. I work a lot with flower and gem essences. I do past life regression and inner child regression too. I also take people on journeys like you do, Leo. I do lots of guided meditations with people, and I take them to temples on the inner planes. And I work with ascended masters and beings of the earth, angels. I work a lot with the earth energies and helping people reconnect with themselves, their own soul, which is so important. And the feminine is the soul, really. Your soul, your dreams, your intuition. And I work a lot with divine feminine beings in my work, that I call those energies in, and also reconnecting with spirit, with great spirit, with your star family, with, like I said, guides and teachers on the inner planes, and also connecting with the earth and the elements, and just learning to live a sacred life. But I help people heal. People come in with all kinds of issues, since I've also trained as a counselor. So, but I bring in the spiritual element and, help them heal and reconnect, because a lot of it is about reconnection. And, So that's ceremonies. That's
without a doubt. I know you
ceremonies is my favorite thing.
So what can people come to you for? Why would they see you? What would you tell people what it is that they can come to you for?
Well, people come when they're at a crossroads in their life. Some people come when they're in a crisis and they want to find themselves, or they're suffering. A lot of people come to me because they're suffering. in like emotionally, psychologically,
Yes.
spiritually. They're suffering, and they need help, and they need a new perspective. They want to heal, so I help people heal like childhood wounds, their inner child, but connect spiritually too, because our spiritual connection, our connection to our higher self and to our soul and to the divine, is what really helps us heal in the earth. Those energies help us heal ourselves. So people come to see me with anxiety, traumas. They're going through a big change. They're in a job that isn't quite aligned with them, and they want to be in their true calling. They want to follow their heart and live in alignment with who they are. Maybe they're making changes in their life, and they need guidance. I just had a couple come to me who want to take on a Christos name. They're getting married, and so I did a ceremony with them with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary that came forth to help them, claim that energy of the Christos lineage, which is my lineage.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with different people. Some people are in, like I said, a lot of pain and suffering. Other people, yeah,
So
are just
so so so
in a,
so
at
in,
a
so in
cross.
general, counseling and healing and spiritual guidance.
Yeah. And I use ceremonies, uh, flower remedies, and gem essences, which are amazing to help heal your soul. They're vibrational essences.
Mm-hmm.
And I also prescribe to people like oils to work with and different things that they can help them. So really, I also help people have a toolbox. I use that with almost all my clients. You need your toolbox, your spiritual healing toolbox. So like my client today, she was like in a panic. So it was breathing, you know, um, touching, touching her body, just really basic things to bring her into the present moment, so she could feel like she was okay, so she could feel centered again. And for me also, I kind of bring in I kind of am so connected to the great mother, the divine mother energy, divine feminine energy, that I bring that through to help people heal too, because people need that energy of the divine feminine. Of course they need the divine masculine too, but I just happen to bring through the feminine a lot.
Yes.
That helps them heal. The gentleness, the love, the unconditional love and compassion. So many people need that energy. It's
Without a
so
doubt.
it's so important that unconditional love and grace and that healing energy of the feminine people need. And of course, also they need to balance with the masculine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's in a nutshell what I do. But I use different modalities. I also do sound and crystal healing with people when they need it, because sound is, and I suggest people listen to solfeggio frequencies, because solfeggio frequencies
Yeah.
can shift things. And it's, solfeggio frequencies are based on the actual frequency and vibration of the earth. They were the original frequencies before modern music came in, and they help people heal and come, ground themselves. And then also, of course, people also need to connect with the divine within them, within themselves, and feel their own spark of divinity within, because the divinity is with everything that's out there is within here.
Yes.
And even the star beings, the ascended, all those beings are part of us, because we're all connected.
Exactly.
We're all one.
That's right.
So, and people just need to have their toolboxes, their spiritual healing toolboxes to help them. So whatever they're going through, they can stop and pause and meditate, or they can take a flower remedy, or maybe there's a stone that they need to hold, or maybe they need to connect with the earth and
So
do it.
how can people get a hold of you?
So people get a hold of me at Gaia Sophia templeoftheheart.com, which is my website. Until Leo and I get our Spiritual Renaissance website up, that's my website. So again, it's Gaia, like the earth, Sophia, templeoftheheart.com. And also you can reach me at Alelia, which is my spiritual name, Elia, at Gaia Sophia, templeoftheheart.com. But you can just go to Gaia Sophia, templeoftheheart.com to get a hold of me.
Thank you, Deb.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to be on 2 weeks in a row. Next week, Alan Steinfeld will be coming back for a revisit to our show, which I'm really looking forward to. And Zenka, would you stay on just for a second so you can meet Deborah as I finish the show? I wanted you guys to meet. So I'm going to end the show today. Say see you next week. And much love to everybody out there. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Much love.